Hey y'all, I'm going to show you a few of my favorite lettering pens. And I say a few because there's really a lot. And I'm going to kind of talk about the differences between them and why you would choose one over another. The truth is, once you start lettering, you're going to love all the things. You're going to love different things for different reasons. And so I'm just going to kind of go through some of them because I get asked about pens and what pen should I buy and things like that a lot. And again, the truth is you're going to end up buying a whole lot of pens. So don't stress about it having to be the exact right one. I usually tell people to start with a Sharpie. So if you are just learning to letter, you don't need to worry about doing, the brush pens or anything just yet. Even though they're super fun, you can start with a Sharpie. This is exactly what, when we teach our lettering boot camp, we don't send out fancy pens. We say grab a Sharpie and do this because it's, it's really easy. So I'm going to be using, this is our free download that we've got right now, the traceables. If you want to print it off, feel free. We'll try to add the link in here. But when you print it off, it comes with tons of traceables that you can actually just trace on to the actual paper, just like these. But I'm just going to use this today. Really, it's just inspiration, not so much as I'm not going to be tracing on these today. But let's say we're using the word joy. Hey, Rebecca. Hey, Jessica. So with the Sharpie, this is just really easy to work with your letter formation. So you're not having to think about your thicks and your thins. You are just thinking about letter formation. And when you're first learning, that's what you got to focus on, is how are we gonna, move these letters? Where am I gonna put the curves? Am I gonna, do something fun with this? So Sharpies are great. Then if you want to add that faux calligraphy, that's when you just start to thicken the downstrokes, okay? And then you can color it in and it looks awesome. Now you could use it like this, but we usually fill it in. So do you see how I just have a lot more control with the Sharpie? So this is what I say to start with. Don't worry about having to spend money on super expensive pens. Just grab a Sharpie, find some lettering that you like, use ours if you want to kind of look at it, and just start trying to practice the formations of the letter. Practice the downstrokes. You can do this on tracing paper too if you don't want to mess up any good paper. So number one is going to be Sharpie. This one, number one favorite. All right, number two, this is one that I showed y'all the other day. It is a brush tip pen. It is a little bit easier to control than the Tombow pens to me, but I love Tombow. So let me just show you what brush tip is. So you see how the brush tip, it kind of gets narrow, and when you start to letter with it, it moves a bit, so it will you can do the thin upstrokes and the heavier downstrokes. To me, the Pitt pens are a little bit firmer and a little bit easier to control on that. So that's why I like these, and they don't bleed through. If you're doing it with Bible journaling or anything, they don't bleed through. So I'm going to go to another word in our booklet that y'all can download, and let's do that word. All right, so we got bloom. So again, this is the Pitt pen brush tip. And with this, I am going to be thinking about my downstrokes. Do you see how this is thicker than that? This to me makes a very nice thin line. There's a lot that you can get good, nice, the downstrokes really good and heavy, but sometimes it's hard to get the upstrokes thin, and this helps you to do that. So let's see. Rebecca says, I've not tried the Pitt pen. I need to order some. Yeah, you can just grab some at, Hobby Lobby, anywhere. They've got them. But I don't know if you saw me talking about the other day. To me, this is a pack, and do you see how they all have the B? I like the bold. I like this size because a lot of times you'll buy a pack and they're all assorted sizes, which I do like for my sketchbook when I am drawing, and I like to use the little lines to add details and the thick lines to outline. I love the assorted size in my sketchbook when I'm drawing, but I like the bold that says B whenever I am lettering. So just FYI on that. All right, so here we go with this. So I'm just pressing down and then thin upstrokes, heavy downstrokes, thin upstrokes, downstroke, up, down, up, down. Okay, so it's just a Pitt pen is just one that's a little bit easier to maneuver than say the Tombow to me whenever you are first learning. So, but the Tombow does have a lot of really cool advantages. Now, I cannot go over everything that Tombow does because it's so cool, but they will, if you get the right paper, they do some really cool blending, which is like to me one of the major things that I love about Tombow is that you can do the blending, but also that you can turn it into watercolor. So with the Tombow pens, I'll get another word and I really, let's just go to here. This is watercolor paper. So with the Tombow pens, you for sure can do, you can letter with it. So I'll show you, to me, it's just a little bit trickier. Now, I don't have another color, but what's fun is you can get another color and go on top of this and blend it out. I'll do a whole other video on that one day just to kind of show you because it's super fun. But right now, I want to quickly go over just several pens. So let me show you with the Tombow, you can also turn it into watercolor. So let's say that this is watercolor paper, and let's say that you're just kind of drawing a flower. We've done this a few different times. Rebecca says, is the Pitt pen good for watercolor? I'll try it. I've never done it with watercolor, so we'll give it a try. Okay, and then this is that, if you watched our Friday Faves last week, I talked to you about this Tombow water brush. The water is already in here. And so I can just kind of squeeze, and it's coming out, and it's turning that marker into watercolor. Okay, so that's a fun way to not have a ton of messy supplies. You've got your Tombow markers and your watercolor paper and your water brush. You don't have to have a whole cup of anything, and it turns into some fun little watercolor. All right, so that's a little bit with the Tombow pens. Again, there's a lot more with that we'll go into later, but that is that. So Rebecca said, is the Pitt good for watercolor? So let me see. Rebecca, I've not used it. So let's just, to begin with, we will just color here. I need to kind of rinse this. Let me not rinse it, but kind of wipe it on a paper towel. And get that red out. I'm just squeezing and wiping is all I'm doing. Kind of squeezing and letting the water flush it out. And then let's see. I would say no. The water does not move the Pitt pen. Okay, so, but that's good to know so that you can watercolor, on top of it or something. All right, now this is just the monotone. So this is very similar to the Sharpie in that it is not a brush tip. It's a little bit skinnier. So like we'll do the word thankful using this from our inspiration. Actually, that's kind of a long word because I just want to quickly, there we go. We've already done hope though, huh? We'll do rest. All right, we'll do rest. So you're not going to be thinking about, anytime it's like the mono, this is the mono tip, you don't think about the downstroke being thicker because no matter how hard you press, you're not going to get any thickness when you've got this type of tip. It's only on those brush tips. But you can go back in and thicken it just like we showed you earlier. But one reason I really like these little pens is because it's got the other side too that's even smaller over here. And I'll show you something kind of fun you can do with that to kind of make your lettering pop. All right, I like to add these little teardrops sometimes on the ends. All right, so with this other side, you can just kind of come on the right side and the up underneath side of your lettering, and it just gives it kind of like a little faux, not really a shadow, but sort of. Okay, so that's just a little something fun with that pen. And let's see, we've got the Posca pens, which if you've followed me for any amount of time, you know how much I love these. They are just awesome they've got just a regular tip. So they're not going to be the brush tip, but you can still do, you can still letter just like everything, but they just write on everything so well. They have such great coverage on canvas, on wood, on glass. Here we can do the word brave with this one, and then we've just got one more that I'll show you, and then we will be done. I'm trying to make our Friday Fives quick because I know you don't have a ton of time, but let's see, I might need to pump it just a bit. Usually I will pump it like at the beginning of class, and I don't have to repump it for a while, and that's me usually helping a lot of people do like their door hangers and things. That's one of the things I just love about it, because some pens that I've used, they're great when you first buy them, and then they just wear out so quickly. So I'm doing this on this paper just to show you the difference in thickness of this nib, of this tip right here, than the other ones. Hey, Lisa, man, I haven't seen you in forever on a live. I'm glad you're here. So, but the Posca pens, really, they're ideally, I'm doing it right now on this paper just to show you the difference of thickness. But for me, I would say the best time to use these are going to be on your projects. So on your canvas, on your wood, on your glass. All right. So just a review for those of you that are just now popping in, we've got Sharpies that are perfect to get started with, and just for practicing. You don't need anything extra special. We have got the Pitt pens, which are a great brush pen if you were wanting to start playing with the brush pen. I would do Sharpies first. You need to think about and learn where the downstrokes are before you go into doing the pressure for the downstroke. So Sharpies first, then you can move up to the Pitt pen for your brush pens. You can get the Tombow if you are going to be wanting to do some fancy stuff like blending your colors and things like that. Again, we'll go into more. There's so much funness with the Tombow. We'll go into more with that. And just a refresher, the Tombow is water soluble, so you can use it on watercolor paper. This is this Monotwin double tip brush by Tombow right here that can just give you some really small lines. This is our Posca pen that will be awesome on your projects, wood, glass, canvas, any of that. And then last up, I'm going to show you Crayola. Now, Miss Rebecca is on here. You are the queen of Crayola. Y'all need to go follow her if you don't already, because she will show you. Rebecca, pop in your link in here if you're still on here, because she every day will take just Crayola markers and some watercolor paper and show you how to create some beautiful art. You don't have to have super fancy stuff to create awesome art. So I really like these super tips. Again, they're really good for getting this thin line and then thick. So I'm just going to show you one. Let's see what another word we can do in here. I might have, some of them are long, and I don't want to be long right now. Okay. We might do, what's a short word I can do? I might just do go. Or I'll do pour. That's my word of the year. We'll do pour. All right. So with these super tips, again, you can get thin upstrokes and thick downstrokes. So, oh hey, yeah, you can just put it right there on the thing. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So sorry about that. That would be our awesome UPS guy that I love so much, and I didn't realize he was coming right now. So anyway, he looked at me like, what are you doing? Anyway, so we have got this, the super tips. So here we go, and it is going to be thin upstrokes, thick downstrokes. You see, it's very similar to this Pitt pen, honestly, as far as how easy it is. And this is just even more accessible, and you get more colors for a cheaper price. Okay, so I like these a lot for just making pretty pretty letters. So why, if you're saying, okay, well, why would I use Pitt pen over Crayola if they both look similar? Okay, this is why and when. Okay, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just go for the Crayola. I would use Pitt pen if I'm in a planner, in a Bible journal, or a Bible, in anything that I don't want it to soak through the page. This has It's the India ink, and oftentimes when you see that India ink, it's that wording, it is not going to bleed through. So that would be the difference. If you're thinking like, how are you using this, would be which pen you're going to choose. If you're just doing it on regular paper, these Crayolas are awesome. And then also the Crayolas are also water soluble. So again, if you wanted to do some fun little something, oh, Jessica, love would have been good. But here we've got, I forgot about that word. But here we have a heart for Valentine's. So we've got this, and it's on watercolor paper. It's important it's on watercolor paper. We've got this Tombow brush pen. And we are just going over it. And you don't have to color it in solid. And then fun, you've got a fun little something. You can get the Sharpie and write love on top of that, and it's a lot of fun. So again, these are just a few. Oops, I was trying to do that. These are just a few of the pens that I love when lettering. And like I said, there is not going to be one pen that you have for everything. Once you start lettering, you're going to want all the pens. And just this is just a little guide to show you kind of what's the difference between them and which one you might want to start with. If you've got any questions, let me know. I would love to answer it. There's also a lot of people here in the comments that can probably help you. I see a lot of our lettering club members that are in here. I'm so glad y'all joined us live. So feel free to ask away if you've got any questions. And also, if you are wanting to get your hands on this booklet full of traceables, it's a free download. It's on our page. We'll pop the link into here too, though. So all right, y'all, let me see if we got any questions. I don't see any questions coming through. So I will, I'm about to pop off. I hope y'all have an awesome day, though, and an awesome weekend. See ya.